This is how to do the review. So, Unit 3 review. Let's get ready for your test tomorrow. Now, I know a lot of you won't bother to watch this, but I'm making it anyway. So, question 1. Now, this may not be in the same order that you got it, but this is the order it'll show up on the test. So, A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is the image of A, B, C, D. What is the translation rule that takes the preimage to the image? So in other words, what do we do to get from A to A prime? Well, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So that's minus 5. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. So plus 6 to the y. So our rule is xy goes to x minus 5, y plus 6. Make sure you remember the parentheses. Okay. Now, question 2. We have quadrilateral ABCD has coordinates given by all of these. After counterclockwise rotation, B prime is at negative 4, 1. So what are the coordinates of D prime? Well, so it's not giving us the rule, it's telling us that B went from here to here. So it's asking what happened. 4, negative 1 went to negative 4, 1. So what happened? Well, xy went to negative x, negative y. We changed the sign on both, but we didn't switch the order. Well, that's rotate 180. Well, so we take D and we switch the sign on both. Sorry, 6, negative 5. And so switch the sign on both, so that becomes negative 6, positive 5. And that's the answer. All vertices of quadrilateral ABCD are in quadrant 2. Well, if they're in quadrant 2, that means they're over here. Now, we want them to end up over here in quadrant 1. Okay? So we want to end up over here. So a reflection across the y-axis. Well, this one's the y, that one's the x. So if I reflect across the y, I end up over there. So yeah. So since I'm looking for not, then that choice is gone. Now, 270 degrees clockwise rotation. Well, that would go once, twice, 3 times. And so I do end up there. So that one's gone. Reflection across the x-axis. That puts me down there. And so that is not the one that I want. Or that is the one I want because that does not put me in quadrant 1. And then lastly, horizontal translation, well, that just means move it sideways. And so that would mean that I could move it sideways into there. And so, yes, horizontal translation would put me over there. Question 4 is on the next one. Okay. Triangle ABC was reflected across y equals x. What are the coordinates of A prime, B prime, C prime? Well, y equals x just means that xy goes to yx. We just switch the order. Well, so what are the coordinates of each point? Well, C is at -2, -2. B is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So -4, 1. And this is at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if I switch the order, A goes to 4, -3. B goes to 1, -4. Because I'm just switching the order. I'm not changing any signs. And this one, -2, -2. And we're done. And 5 gets its own page. Well, it goes to the next page. Now, this one, I'm sorry, the labels are missing. This one, I believe, was C, A, and B. I'm going to pause for a second and double check that. Okay, yes, those are the correct points. Okay, and so then it says to reflect across the line x equals 1 and translate 2 left and 4 down. Well, 2 left means x minus 2, 4 down means y minus 4. And across the line x equals 1, so that's step 2. Step 1, x equals 1 means 2 times 1 minus the x value and leave y alone. Well, so what are our coordinates? Well, A is at 7, 4. B is at 5, 7. And C is at 4, 3. So, translate. Sorry. Reflect. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 7 is -5. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 5 is -3. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 4 is -2. And then we translate. It says subtract 2 from x, subtract 4 from y. -5 minus 2 is -7. 4 minus 4 0. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. 7 minus 4 is 30. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. And so then we graph those points. So negative 7, 0. Negative 5, 1, 2, 3. And sorry, that should be positive 3. And then negative 4. And that's a and I made a mistake there because that wasn't supposed to be negative 3. And so that should just be negative 1. And so that's what it should look like. Number 6, we go to the next page. Now, which transformation maps A onto B? A prime, B prime, C prime, A prime, B, A, B, C onto A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay. Well, this is at negative 3, 4. Negative 4, 1. And negative 1, 1. 1, negative 1. 4, negative 1. And 3, negative 4. Now, translation is out because if it was translation, A would still be pointing up. So translation's gone. So we've got rotation over of and reflection over. Well, here are our choices. So we can reflect over the line y equals negative x, so y equals x. Well, we already said we're not doing this one this year, so we can get rid of y equals negative x. Well, that leaves y equals x. Y equals x says just switch the order. So instead of negative 3, 4, it would be 4, negative 3. Well, this isn't 4, negative 3. So there goes that one. And so that means we can get rid of rotation or reflection. So that means it has to be a rotation. So reflection's gone. So 90, 180, and 270. Well, 90 says that XY goes to negative Y X. And so we switched the order. Well, again, we didn't switch the order. So 90's gone. 270 says we switched the order, changed the sign on the X. Well, again, we didn't switch the order, so 270's gone. 180 says we just changed the signs and don't switch the order. Well, we didn't switch the order. -3 became +3, +4 became -4. So it's 180. Okay, so look at your coordinates and see what's happening. Now, this is one that we didn't talk about, but is very simple. It takes like 2 minutes, well, not even 2 minutes to understand. Incongruence, it just means matching. Well, basically means matching. So A matches E, B matches F, C matches G, and D matches H. And so that means, since they're matching, AB matches EF. BC matches FG. CD matches GH. And DA matches HE. And then the angles match the same as well, so they all have to go in the same order. So, since BC matches FG, FG goes there. CD matches GH, so GH. DA, so HE. The angles match. And the only thing that we can't say is true is that two things are parallel. So AB and EF, we can't say that they are parallel. And that's all there is to that question. Okay. Quadrilateral ABCD has coordinates -5, da, da, da. Quadrilateral this has that. Which transformation would prove that these are the same? -5, 7 to -5, 15. That clearly means we didn't switch the side, the order, so rotation's out. Okay. Now, this is a multiple choice question on your test. And so it'll be easier. And I'll probably fix it for the review. But in this case, as it's written, there are two answers: reflection or translation. Okay. So reflection or translation. Because you could be reflecting over, y equals or x equals, given that x doesn't change, y equals. And then this is the free response question. says identify a sequence of transformations that proves the two are congruent. In other words, proves that they're the same size. In other words, we want to get ABC onto EDF. Sorry, DEF. So we want to get A where D is, B where E is, C where F is. Okay. So there are multiple ways to do this. All you got to do is think. So this coordinate is at -2, 5. -5, 6. -6, 3. Okay. 3, -2. 4, -5. And 1, -6. Now, it says sequence. In other words, we can't just do this with one move. It's going to take at least two. Okay? Because if we just translate it, well, we could move this down to where D is, but then the triangle would be, this point would be here, but then the other points would be down here, and so it wouldn't all line up. Okay? So, my suggestion is, let's move this down here. Now, I'm gonna rotate. And I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. And so that's -5, 6 goes to -6, -5. Because that's xy goes to -yx. And so then -2, 5 goes to -5, -2. And then -6, 3 goes to -3, 6. Now, when I graph these points, -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5, 2. And -3. Well, this is a lot more like that, right? And so if I reflect this now, this point could go there, this could go there, and this can go there. And so now it's just a matter of, what do I reflect over? Now, I could reflect over the y-axis and then translate it back the number of spaces. And that would work. That would be a sequence of 3 transformations. Or I can figure out what line to translate over, to reflect over, so that it ends up exactly where I need it to. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 1, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that means this is the middle, and that's at x equals 1. And so I do these points, and I reflect it over x equals 1. So that's 2 times 1 minus 6. Uh, and I think I made a mistake, but we'll see. 2 times 1 is 2, minus negative 6 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right, because this is A, B, C, okay. So 4, negative 5. 2 times 1 is 2, minus negative 5 is plus 5, so that should be 7. No. Why am I having so much trouble at 7 in the morning? Two minus negative 5. And 2 minus, I'm going to pause for a second, figure out what I'm doing wrong. Alright, I figured out the issue. I didn't put a negative here. Alright, so it's 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, minus negative 6, so that's 6 plus negative 2 is 4. Negative 2 minus negative 5 is 3. Negative 2 minus negative 3 is 1. And so 4 negative 5 is D. 3 negative 2 is E. 1 negative 6 is F. And so they match. And so rotate by 90 degrees. Then reflect over x equals negative 1. Now, write a congruence statement. Well, that's just A, B, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle D, E, F. That's a congruency statement. That's all it is. And you're done. And that's the whole test. Sorry I got a little confused.